Everybody, welcome back to another episode of DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm Russell number 31. Apologize this week. I've been trying like some different things for sound. Obviously, it didn't work last week, so uh, voice might be a little off today. Slept with the windows open a couple nights, and now my sinuses are a little clogged and run down back throat, causing me to cough. So hopefully, it's not too bad here. But anyways, adjusted the volume levels, moved the mic, so hopefully it's a little bit better. But you can always put the captions on, as one astute viewer did, or wrote me on 2x. I watch everything on 2x. Actually, my voice is naturally lower, so actually make me sound a little bit higher, so maybe it'll project better. But anyways, besides the voice quality and everything, hopefully that's okay, but the content should be spot on. Xfinity was really good. The primes did really well. With the rain and everything, they got the race in. NASCAR did a good job. And so let's look at this one. So practice, there was a little bit of practice, but there wasn't enough data for me to actually consider it good data, so I didn't put it in that. But I look back at two races recently. Indy, now this isn't like Xfinity where they use like super speedway package at Indy and Michigan, and like you had a little bit of pack racing and stuff like that. So that shouldn't be the case. Michigan's a half mile shorter than Indy, but it does kind of translate a little bit. They ran it just two races ago, but Kansas is like a mini Michigan, so that's the one I'm going to go back at and look at. It was a couple months ago, so things have changed a little bit since then. But what I have is their average running position is the left column, and then their finish is the right column. So it gives us a little bit more perspective because this starting lineup was not set by qualification. It was set by a formula because they couldn't qualify. So before I go any further, just a couple commercials for you here. At FSI, we have EPL soccer's back, so we have that, and we're going to start a college football program. So week 0 starts next weekend. I've got somebody that's coming in and rejoining our team. He was with us a few years ago, went off and did some stuff with Fantasy Alarm and some other bigger providers, and then has now come back to us, which is great and very knowledgeable. And those prices will be up on the website, and it's part of our VIP package. Also, WNBA is back. So today, if you're looking to play some sports and you just want to jump in NASCAR, I think it's like $3 for the day. But if you just pay double that for $6, you're going to get WNBA if there's stuff. We're doing preseason NFL. You're going to get EPL. You're going to get NASCAR, you're going to get MLB, so WNBA if there's a slate. So there's a lot of cool things there for a pretty low price. Go to the description of the video and the pricing page there. Okay, so that's how we keep the lights on, pay the bills. Let's move on here and get into this breakdown. Denny Hamlin starting first. I think he's definitely going to be a dominator. The pole sitters haven't done great at Michigan, but I think Denny just through his similar track type should do well here. Average running position 6 and finished 6th in Kansas. Average running position 8 at Indy, finished 28th. So again, that's why I like to use the average running position because sometimes finishes are the most important thing, obviously, when it comes to scoring for DK, but it doesn't tell the whole story. So Hamlin, I think, is definitely a decent dominator. Tyler Reddick is going to be one of my 100K picks here because he almost won the race last year. It was a little debacle on pit road that held him back. Michigan is a race where there's a little bit of a high groove. It was more prevalent when they have the other car before the next gen, but it's still something that he could probably make work and obviously was doing well with it last year to his advantage to have a good race. 13th average in Kansas, finished 20th, but Indy 7th and finished second to Kyle Larson. Had a decent car there. So I think that people are going to overlook him starting second, and they're going to go to look at place differential here, which is good because there's not as many laps with a 2 mile track for dominator points as there are for like a shorter track. If somebody runs a table on it, obviously you want them. but it's usually a 2 dom race at most, maybe 3. So I'm not prioritizing dominators as much. I'm gonna prioritize more, all this really good place differential that we have kind of, baked in and, finishing position, obviously, too. So I think Reddick could definitely be a sleeper here, could get out in front of Hamlin, lead a bunch of laps early, and, but I think people are gonna overlook him, so that's why he's gonna be my, 100K play for you. Christopher Bell, upside dominator here. All the numbers have looked decent at similar type tracks. The only thing is, like, it seems like once a week, a Joe Gibbs car loses an engine recently, and we saw that in the middle of the season last year. It's one of the things that frustrated Kyle Busch and kind of facilitated his exit from the team. So Bell, I like, I don't love. I think that he's someone to consider in your dominator pool and GPPs, but I don't think he's definitely a cash play. Kansas, the numbers aren't bad, like top 6 finishes in both with close to the top 10 average running positions. So the numbers line up there, but again, you can't play everybody, so he's going to be more of a GPP play than a cash play for me. Larson, I think, is going to be very chalky. He won both Kansas and Indianapolis, so I think that if you're looking at a dominator, it's going to be between he and Hamlin. If you want to try to get both of them, that's fine, but you're going to have to play a lot of punt value. But you'll see there's a lot of cash plays at the bottom of the table, so it might work. Throwing in like Truex as a 100K prime there and playing Hamlin and Larson, that might work out for you. I might try it in the lineup, but I'd probably go a little bit more balanced in my primary cash. Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott, I think both have some speed here and could be upside dominators, but I don't trust them for cash. Their average running position were in the teens in Kansas. Elliott or Wallace finished there, but Elliott finished third. A little bit better in Indy, top 5 finish for Bubba, top 10 for Elliott. So like I said, the potential's there, but it's just not enough to move the needle to put them in cash consideration for me. Ross Chastain, I think, will be very popular, but I look at him as upside dominator. Average running position in Kansas was 10th, finished 19th. Average running position in India was 21st, finished 15th. And I just don't think he's a top 10 car today. So that's why he's GPP and potential to dominate because of his aggression, but not someone that can play in cash. Blaney and Byron, I think, are GPP plays here in this price point in the top 10. I think they'll have some speed. I don't think they'll have a ton of speed. Can they hang in the top 10? Is possibly, but I think there's some other people that can move up. But if you look at the people behind them, it looks like they may be safe. So that's why floor's questionable. That's why they're GPPs, but the upside is there, especially with Blaney at Indy, started 7th, finished third there. Um, and actually his average running position was 7th, finished third. Byron really struggled at Indy and finished 23rd, so that's why I just kind of have to write him off of this type of track. But Blaney could be a sleeper, but again at 10-3, that's just such a high price tag. That's why he's a GPP because I just fear his like point per dollar output isn't going to be what I need to take down a tournament. Austin Dillon, if you watched the race last week, the bump and run on Logano, in my opinion, was fair game. Joey's done that to plenty of people, but then turning Hamlin was just wrong, and that's why he got the penalty. I'm surprised he's not suspended. The appeal will go through on Wednesday. We'll see what happens on that. But he just didn't look good in the little practice we had out there. Had no speed in Kansas. Indy looked a little okay, but he didn't look like he had the same car that he did. A lot of distractions. Fade for me. He's not starting a top 10. I think there's no floor for him. He's a very dangerous play. Hocevar and Suarez, the same thing, like hurdle slow. Not great finishes at Kansas. Hocevar had a decent one in Indy, but just with this numbers game here, starting had a good run last week. That's why he's up in the top 11. If he started in the 20s, I'd probably consider him a GPP or maybe a cash play, but both these guys are starting way too far forward, so I can't do it. Kyle Busch, I have his GPP, but I realize I only gave you a couple hundred K guys, and he's only going to medium ownership. If he can do what he did in Kansas, Kyle Busch is could take down a tournament. Top five average speed and eighth overall finish. And not so great in Indianapolis, but again, to take down a 100K tournament, you got to take some shots. I'll see if there's somebody else that pops as we go through this to replace him with. If you feel uneasy playing Kyle Busch in that lineup, I get it. You know what the 100K guys are. Those are the three guys that I'd play as contrarian plays in the top GPP. But I would fill in with safe cash plays, prime plays, and floor plays around them. So you kind of have the best of both worlds. You have contrarian plays to try to put you over the top, but you have some safety plays to earn you some raw points to match the field. Logano is going to be a fade for me also. I think also distractions from last week. Find a hefty amount of money. Surprised he wasn't suspended because he created a very dangerous situation out of being upset going in front of Austin Dillon's pit when they all were celebrating and pretty much doing a burnout. And but if you look at his numbers, finished 34th at Kansas, finished 34th at Indianapolis. His average running position was still anywhere from 23 to 18. He's starting 14th. That's still losing places. So just can't do it. Keselowski, I think, is going to be a popular play here, and I can see playing him in cash. I might drop down a little bit further because, again, and just if I want to try to get some of those dominators in there with Truex, who is a prime play at 10K, I probably can't get to Keselowski and like the rest of my lineup. I'm okay with it from Kansas, like 16 finished 11th. That's pretty much or 16th overall running position, starting 15th. So a little bit of place differential there. I think that's good. The RFK cars had good speed at Kansas, and I believe they did here also last year. So that's something also you can take in consideration. Indy wasn't as good there, but again, maybe that was just an outlier. So it's hard to have two data points and no tiebreaker. But so Kozlowski, decent cash play, but I can't put him as a prime play. Uh, Barry and McDowell starting a little bit too far forward here for me. And if you look at McDowell's numbers, you're like, I don't understand. I know, like he's average running position 13th at Kansas, similar track finish in the top 10. Indy held his own, like was in the 16th position, finished in the 6th position. He started 17th at 6,600. If he finishes where he starts, isn't that great? Yes, but that was before. Well, Indy was, I think, during the period where he was leaving the team, and they like pulled the carpet out from underneath him. But I just that's why he's going to always going to GPP. I think maybe it was he going to try to stick it through him and just go out there against all odds and try to perform well. Yes, but Ford's not giving him any extra help. He's probably front rows moving all of the priority people to other teams. So, because he's leaving them. So, I just don't think it's a great situation for him. Barry, same thing, just like slow. Indy finished 15th in Kansas, but average running position was 25th. So GPP for both of them. So the reason why I'm not having Keselowski as a prime is I save $400 here by going with Busher. I get a little bit better place differential upside, and his numbers are better. Phenomenal race in Kansas. Won the race here last year. Look at Indy, rough day there again. I'm just going to throw that out. I put it in here for context, but sure, I think it's where I want to start with my prime place. Ty Gibbs is another one that I think is going to have. I don't know why it says high ownership. It should be medium ownership. So sorry about that one. He is a Toyota car. He's starting 19th, so I think that might track some people. That's why he's not going to be in the low range. But his finishes at Kansas 32, Indianapolis 23. But I believe he's had top 10, if not top 10, five speed on these types of tracks. He just hasn't put it together. But if he does and everything clicks, then that's going to be a masterful day for you. So that's why I think that you can consider him in your 100K lineup. Gillian and Briscoe, again, there's we like them in the lower 20s. Gillian down in the 30s. I don't mind playing each one. Like the finishes have been there for Gillian. If you look, 20th average running position, finished 14th, 17th average running position. Indy had a really great day, finished sixth, and almost helped me win 100K in that lineup. I just had one other piece that wrecked in it, which derailed my day, but I did pretty well having him there. So he's been solid. I get if you want to play him in GPP. It's just starting a little bit too far forward in 20th. I just don't know if he can hold that position. And I just don't know if he's going to be up in the top 10 again or top 15, let alone. So a good risk reward play here. And again, he might be the one if you don't feel like playing Kyle Busch that people are going to overlook starting 20th that has been solid and delivered some really great results this year. So if you don't feel like playing Kyle Busch in your 100K lineup, if that's not where you want to go, or if you're trying to get some uh bigger plays in there to round off the lineup with 100K guys, then Gillian is who you want to play. Briscoe GPP here, like I said, just where starting position and results and stuff. Just I don't feel there's a floor or enough upside for cash or like to put in for a 100K tournament. Bowman, it's probably going to be a medium ownership here, cash play. Uh, Rector had like some mechanical failure, 37th, but 21st average running position, 18th. So the results aren't there, but these 100 cars unloaded for what we did see in the short amount of practice with some speed. So I think he's solid cash play, place differential play. Probably get you 5 to Alex Bone key up to the top 12 through pit strategy and through doing the right thing, especially when you have Austin Dillon, Cluster, and Holsafar, all these like mismatched cars up in front of him. He's kind of where I draw the line where he and like Truex, where you know that they're going to get ahead of like 10 cars in the field, like Cindric, Briscoe, Gillian potentially, McDowell, Barry, Kyle Busch, depending on what happens with him, Suarez, Hocevar, Austin Dillon. It's pretty simple to pass like 10 cars and get 10 place differential points if he runs his race and does his thing there. Cindric hasn't had the speed. Seventh in Indy, I know, but I think that was like on like really good pit strategy and fuel race there. So they nailed it that time, but they got lucky, but they could have broken the other way very easily too. So GVP in a low on play for me. Truex, I think he's a chalk play here. Lost the engine last week, was running really well. Finished fourth at Kansas. Seventh, struggle at Indy, but I'm gonna write that one off. And I know last week he had a DNF, but I think they probably have this figured out. Like starting 24th, he has such a floor and such upside. Even if he's out, he's only going to lose you like a negative 12 versus if you played him in last week starting like second and he lost you like 30 some points. But he had some other like lap lines and stuff that I think they can mitigate that advantage. But I really like him here as a prime play. I think it'll be quite popular. And then Noah Gragson is going to be my other prime play down here. Back to back top 10 finishes, ran the Xfinity race yesterday, has a feel for the track. And I think I know Stuart Haas hasn't had a ton of speed, but don't think he's a 25th place car. And at his price point, I like him better than some of the other ones down here to advance a little bit more and set himself up for success. Reese, I think you can play in cash here also at 5,700. I think if he finishes around where he starts, he's fine. Zane Smith just haven't had speed recently. He's probably going to go backwards, starting too far forward, so fade. Eric Jones, I think, is very, very popular here. In the little bit of practice we did, he did look like he had some speed. It did look like they have found something. Legacy hasn't all year long, so that's why I like Gregson a little bit better looking at his results versus Jones. They're only 100 apart, so if you want to pivot off of Gregson, then Jones is good, or if you want to pivot off of Jones, then Gregson. So either one of them, I think, could be the prime play here, but I'm leaning Gregson just because of the data that I've seen and racing in an Xfinity race also. Haley's been super solid here, also top 20 in both races that we compare it to. So I think that definitely some place differential there at a fair price point of 58. Stenhouse I said really good. And he just had a really bad week last week. It got Max said it was revenge with Kyle Busch from back in the other race. I think they're just joking on that, but he got taken out, so that's why he like starting down here, but not a 30th place car, and not necessarily a 17th or 13th place car either. But I think he can get up into the low 20s, so that's definitely some place differential to look at there. LaJoy GPP lost his ride. Don't really see a ton, although like he did I had him as a fade in Indianapolis and he hung in there and kept the 14th spot after starting up there. So still some consistency there, but I just don't think this is the challenge for him. Hemrick, really like had a really good run at Indy. Struggled a little bit here at Kansas, but he has come a long way through the course of the season. So I think that he's another one that we consider in cash. Dunhunter Nemechek, I liked him yesterday in Xfinity. He was on the cover. I thought he could win it, finish third, but he just hasn't had the speed here and didn't look good in a little bit of practice we had. Uh, average position 24th, finished 13th. So there's some upside there, but there's just so many other plays I'd like to play over him down here if I just ranked him in my mind. And Indy had a little bit of a struggle too, but average running position 11. So you can play him in cash, but I like the savings that you have on some of the other players down here. Harrison Burton's a fade. I just can't do it. I don't know why they'll make the move early and put somebody else in that car, but I just probably just the family name that they're giving the respect to finish out the season, but expect absolutely nothing there. Allmendinger, I think a lot of people will have as a core play, and I get it, but I just I've seen this car struggle. Like Kansas, yes, but they probably started further on up and average running position at 13th and 7th. Not that it's like hard to pass here, but I can put him as a cash play. I think he's to be chalky. I think he's a great play. But I can't put him as a prime play just because like I looked at like Indy and the speed and a couple other recent races, and it just doesn't add up sometimes. And I think if he was just qualified well and we saw some like speed out of this car and he was able to start like closer to the front, he'd be a prime play. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a prime play because he'd be his place differential would be in question there. But I think, if I'm looking at a real race, that would be a better situation. And then Cody Ware on the bottom is just going to be a GPP for me. If you need him as a pump play, that's fine. It's the cheapest guy in the field, starting last. But $100 more, I think Hemrick's a much better play, more upside. So we got for you. If you have questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up at MegaRuler31 on Twitter/X. Remember to go to the description of the video and you can get to our pricing page. And for $6, like so many sports you can play today, it's going to be amazing. And if you want more information on FSI DFS, I already said that. So if these videos help us back, like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. So thanks for watching. Daytona next week. I think it's a Saturday night race. So just stay tuned to the YouTube channel. That's why it's a great reason to subscribe. You'll know when the videos are coming out, so you won't miss anything. And I think we got another week before trucks come back. It's probably going to be Xfinity and Cup, probably Friday night and the Saturday night race. And if we have the information, we'll get videos out to you. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contests, and I'll see you next time.